So you want to learn how to edit music videos like Che, Nettspend, Prettifun, and all of those upcoming artists, and also as creators like No So Cold and Poppy Gavin. Well, that's perfect because in this tutorial I'm about to break down 2 effects from my new Ultimate Underground Effects pack, which just dropped, and there's the default version which requires no paid plugins and an add-on version which requires Sapphire. Both of them come with 30 unique effects. You can also get them as a bundle with 60 effects in total. I'll have a link to the description, so go and check them out right now before we get into the video. But let's break some effects down. So in this tutorial I'll just break down 2 of the 60 effects in this bundle. But the very first thing that I'll start off by doing, oh yeah, I forgot to mention I got this nettspend clip right here. I'll start off by right clicking right here on the blank space, go to new and create a new adjustment layer, and I'll be adding all of the effects onto this adjustment layer. So under animation presets and under user presets, I got all of my preset packs right here. Right here I got the Ultimate Underground Effects default and add-on version, and as you can see 30 presets in both of them, and they're all unique. And the first one that I'll show off is this pulsing Brainrot. So if I just simply drag it onto the adjustment layer, it looks like this, and let's play it through and see what we get. And this is absolutely crazy. I just had to drag and drop that onto my adjustment layer. But let's break this effect down. I started off by adding on a transform effect, and let's drag it onto the adjustment layer, and I turned up the skew to 6. And for the skew axis, we gotta hold Alt while we press this stopwatch button, and this will bring this expression tab. And in this expression tab, I typed out time times 360. So this will basically just loop this effect, and Gus put me onto this technique, so huge shout out to him. But as you can see right now, we got these black corners right here which we want to get rid of, and there's a couple different ways you can do that, but the way I'll do it is by adding on a motion tile effect, and I'll put this motion tile above my transform effect, and then just turn up the output width and the output height, and then press mirror edges right here, and now it's gone and it looks good. So if we play this through, we got this wiggling effect right here, and if you want to have more of a skew, you can just turn this up to something like 14, but I'll keep it pretty subtle, like around 6 or 7. And I'm pretty happy with this because when we add all of the other effects on, it will look so much better. One thing that I don't like is the fact that when his hand goes up right here, you can see the reflection. So to kind of hide that a little bit, I'll add on a vignette effect, and I won't use the Sapphire one. I'll just use the built-in After Effects effect, and I'll turn up the amount to 250 and the angle of view to 52. Now we got this vignette, which will also look really good when we add some flash on, because the vignette will affect the flash, or the other way around, I don't know, but it will look really good. Now I'll add on a grain effect, so I'll search up add grain, and let's drag it onto the adjustment layer. And we can change the viewing mode to final output, and let's just turn down the intensity to like 0.75, because I got a pretty dark clip right here, so I don't want too much grain on this scene. Then I'll add on a colorama effect. So right now we got this really bright, so we'll open up output cycle, and under user preset palette we'll press this ramp gray, and now we got this really gray palette that we don't want to mess with. Like, it looks good as it is. The only thing we can do is open up modify and select HS, so it's a little bit brighter. Doesn't make too much of a difference, but I like to keep it this way. And I'll add on a tiny bit of a glow before we add on the exposure effect. This way the exposure will affect the glow, and we can turn up the glow threshold to 72, and we can turn up the radius to some really high number like 218, and the glow intensity to 1.7. And it's a pretty dark clip, so you can barely see the glow at all. So you can actually turn down the glow threshold. So if you have the same problem, just drag down the glow threshold. But I usually keep it at 72 because that works for most of my clips. And then I'll add on the exposure effect, and we'll do basically the same thing that we did with the transform effect. We'll hold Alt while we press the exposure button, but this time we'll create a wiggle effect, and we can type 3,6 just like this. That way we'll get a really randomized exposure throughout the scene and get this kind of pulsing effect, which is why I named the preset like Brainrot Pulse or whatever it was called. And then I'll add on a mosaic effect, and this one is really essential when it comes to these kind of Brainrot effects. I'll start off at 10 just like this, but I'll keyframe the mosaic and then go like 1 second in, and I'll drag them up to like 1,000, just some really high number like this, so it's completely gone. Then we can just ease our keyframes to something like this. Then it will only affect like the first 5 frames or something. So it will come in like this and then just go away, and we'll keep all of the other effects. Now the last effect to basically solidify that Brainrot look is to add on a polarized time effect. We can drag down the frame rate to, I usually recommend somewhere between 8 and 12. So I'll go like 10. And now we got this, which looks absolutely crazy. And if you followed all of these steps correctly, you should have something that looks basically the same. So let's hop right into the next effect. Next up, I got another scene from the same nettspend music video, and I already got my adjustment layer in place, so I'm well prepared. This time I'll break down an effect from the add-on version, which means you will require Sapphire for this effect. I love both of these packs. I spent so much time on them, but especially this add-on pack is absolutely crazy. And I don't want to share too much of the sauce. I got this RIP PC preset right here, and if I just drag it on to my adjustment layer, I got something like this. In my opinion, it's not even too much. You could honestly mix this with some other effects. Like if I create a new adjustment layer, I could drag on this static version too. It will still look decent. Like when I mix them, it looks like this. Maybe a little bit too much, but you get the point. You can mix these effects together. But let's break this effect down. I started off by adding on a Sapphire glow. And I dragged up the brightness to 5 and the glow width to 190. Once again, pretty dark clip. You could mess with the threshold if you have a dark clip and you want it a little bit brighter, because all of these presets are fully customizable, so you can mess around with them. The next effect that I added on was a Sapphire digital damage, which gives us this kind of glitch look, as you can see. So if we drag down the intensity to 0.6 and the time intensity to 2, the glitches won't make as much as a difference as if we had them on 1, but we'll have a lot more glitches in the scene. So that's basically what I did. And then I added on a Sapphire flicker and dragged up the amplitude to 1.2, the random frequency right here to 15, so we can have some randomized flickers. But next up, I added on an exposure once again, like we did last time. I love the exposures. So hold Alt while you press this time watch right there, and then we type out wiggle, and then you can press tab, you'll get these brackets, and then I typed out 5, 10. This will give us a pretty bright exposure that goes bright right here, and then dark, and then bright. And when you have a really high exposure like this, you get some really distorted footage, which gives a great look, but might be a little bit too much with the glow, so we can turn down the glow right here. Threshold to 5.3. Like last time, I added on a vignette, and you can just mess with this one. I can turn it up to like 175 and angle of view to 52, just like this, and boom, there you have it. That's a pretty cool effect in my opinion. And like I said, I'm not trying to leak too much of the sauce. You're gonna have to get the pack yourself to check out all of the crazy effects, but I'll just show off a little bit. So I got a new adjustment layer in place right here, and I got the same clip. What I'll do is open up the default version and just drag on this swag pulse effect. I love this one, and just like that, I have this effect. It's one of those pulse effects once again, but a little bit more of a distorted look. So I'll remove that one, and I'll show off one last in the add-on version. And I got this disturbed monks and disturbed nuns effect. It's basically V1 and V2. I don't know why I picked that name. Once again, I'm just autistic at this point. I'll just drag it onto the adjustment layer, and immediately something crazy once again. Like, how do I even do this? I don't even know, because this thing is the only plugin you need is Sapphire, which is actually pretty easy to crack. But that's pretty much it for this tutorial. If you enjoyed, feel free to leave a like and subscribe, but also follow my IG for a lot of more sauce and updates. But thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.